Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be my August half wrap up. I have 1 nonfiction, 3 romances, 2 middle grade fantasies, and a historical mystery. So first, the nonfiction, Dear Girls by Ali Wong. I was looking for an audiobook that would be entertaining while I was dog sitting and crocheting, and I found this in the humor section of my library's catalog. It is a memoir and also advice for the author's daughters. There's a lot about dating and how the author eventually met her husband and what it was like being pregnant and having kids while being a comedian, and a lot of it is fairly raunchy humor. So if you're not into that, Ali Wong is probably not the comedian for you, but if you like that, I think it's fairly well done and not in like poor taste or anything. Then the romances. One is an autistic romance by Chloe Leese, the latest in her Bergman Brothers series. That is If Only You, which is about the autistic sister of the family falling in love with one of her brother's best friends, who is a bad boy and has a bad reputation. And she wants to bad girl up her reputation because she has been babied by her family and by everyone else a lot and treated like she's an innocent little thing because she's autistic and she's had like depression and things, and she wants to be considered an adult, and he needs a softer, nicer reputation because he has finally got his reputation so bad that it has harmed his professional life as a hockey player. So they work together to change both of their reputations and fall in love along the way. This is a case of them having known each other as acquaintances for a while and having been attracted to each other and slightly interested in each other before actually getting to know each other, and then things changing and developing. I thought it was really sweet. It really whetted my appetite for that type of romance, so I reread several other of Chloe Leese's books that I've read before, and I gave it 5 stars. Dear Girls, I gave 4.5 stars. Bryony and Roses by T. Kingfisher. I finally got around to this, and my library doesn't have it, so I eventually, enough people had talked about it and how much they liked it, and that I finally decided to just buy it, and I really enjoyed it. It's only 200 and some pages, and it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It is very sweet. It is very creepy, as T. Kingfisher's fantasy and fantasy romance tend to bring in bits of the horror genre. I would say this is about as creepy as the beginning parts of Nettle and Bone. I really enjoy the Beast character. Them spending time together in the library is like one of my favorite things from the various retellings that I've heard, so like I enjoyed that aspect. And solving the mystery of what's going on with the magical house and the curse was very interesting. There's a note at the beginning about T. Kingfisher loving gardening, not necessarily loving roses specifically, in fact kind of disliking roses because where she lived for a long time they tend to get rot and not grow very well. I happen to live in almost desert, and they grow very well here as long as you water them artificially. So I really love roses, but I've also read several Beauty and the Beast retellings where the roses themselves are kind of creepy, so I don't mind that. And I loved the love of gardening that was so evident in the main character and in the way it was written. That was really precious to me. I love gardener characters. I love to garden myself. So I gave Bryony and Roses 5 stars. That got me in the mood for Beauty and the Beast retellings, so I reread Heart's Blood by Juliette Marillier. This is about a disabled beast who is not in animal form. He is disfigured by having a palsy when he was a kid, but he also has a curse on him and the entire like castle and hill that he lives on, and very few people live there with him, taking care of the grounds and him, and she happens upon him as she's running away from abusive family members, as he puts out a call for a scribe to come and translate the works in his library, and scribing is what she does. I also love lots of books that have the main character be a crafter of some kind, including scribing, have a craft that's really important to them. I really enjoy that and getting to learn about that craft through the book. And it has a really sweet romance. It gives me all the feels. So Heart's Blood, 5 stars. I also am currently rereading Entreat Me by Grace Draven. It's her Beauty and the Beast retelling, and really enjoying that as well. Then the middle grade fantasy, Triss's book by Tamora Pierce, part of the Circle of Magic series. This one has a slightly extra focus on the character Triss, who is one of the 4 strange little magical children who were gathered together in the first book, Sandry's book. But all 4 characters are perspective characters and they work together a lot, and that's a lot of what I love about this series. The bonds between the 4 kid characters and how they work their magic together and how they help each other and how they are greater than the sum of their parts. That's really cool to me. And I love the further development of the relationships between the mentors and the mentees and learning a bit more about this world. This young girl's anger being a powerful force that accomplishes big things, I think was really cool as well. So Triss's book, 5 stars. Then we have The Tea Dragon Society, which is a itty bitty graphic novel with not much of a plot. It is character based. It is all about found family and the pursuing of craft, and of craft being important, and of craft being something that is passed down through generations, not necessarily from parent to child, but from older found family to younger found family. And two particular crafts. One is making tea from the leaves that grow off of these little dragons, and one is blacksmithing. It's very precious. I love how it treats the older characters as how their lives when they were young were important, but the lives they're living now as elders is just as important and beautiful. And of course, the little tea dragons are adorable. 5 stars. Then, The Late Mrs. Willoughby. This is the second book in a little series of mysteries by Claudia Gray. Is set in the world of Jane Austen and tends to involve a lot of Jane Austen characters. Like a lot of Jane Austen characters were in the first book. There's a smaller number that focuses in on the characters from Sense and Sensibility. In this book, specifically the murder of Mrs. Willoughby, who formerly Miss Grey, of the £50,000, and the solvers of the mystery are again the young Mr. Darcy, who is Fitzwilliam Darcy and Elizabeth Darcy's kid, and Miss Tilney, who is the kid of the couple from Northanger Abbey. They started to like each other a little bit in the first book, and we have some further development of that in this book, but it is sort of complicated and made difficult by the same things that make all of Jane Austen's romances difficult, societal preconceptions and ideas about how you can't ever talk to a person who is a different gender than you, or you have to get married. So I really like how they skirt propriety. I am very excited for the next one. I'm not a super mystery type person. There has to be something else to maintain my interest. In this case, it tying back to Jane Austen and having these very sweet characters, one of whom is autistic, being having their little romance is what really draws me into these books. I did end up guessing who the murderer was, not through any like clues that were found in the book or what would make sense in real life, but just through what would make sense in a literary world. So yeah, I gave The Late Mrs. Willoughby 4.5 stars. And as an autistic person, I think that the representation in Jonathan Darcy was quite well done. There are some very sweet moments in there between him and Miss Tilney, where she is kind to him about it, whereas a lot of other people would take the opportunity to mock him for his autistic traits. And I love that. So that is what I have read in the first half of August. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know how your August has gone so far, if you have read any of these or are interested in any of them. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about a robot for I've replaced my orca with R2-D2. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!